Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets and Rob. How's everybody doing? It's official, guys. The last New York Mets home game of the season. I'm currently parked right now, waiting to go into the stadium, probably in about an hour or so. So we are here today for the Mets Marlins game, but there's also a lot to talk about. I'm only doing the pregame today because I am going to the game, but I also am gonna talk about everything that went on with Sandy Olson, everything that we want to talk about the future, everything we need to talk about. I will put the lineup in a few minutes, but don't forget, guys, please hit on that like button so we can get this stream out to more people. I will be with you until 5 o'clock. So hang in there. Let's talk Mets baseball. Let's talk about the future of the Mets. A lot to talk about with Sandy Alderson, what he said yesterday in his press conference, and what is the future of this Mets organization. Who do you think is going to be the GM? Who do you think is going to be the president of baseball ops? What players you think are going to be gone? So much to talk about. We will get it done. So say what's up in the comment, guys. Don't forget, hit on that like button, guys. Hit on that subscribe button. And here we go. Sweaty, how you doing, buddy? So, guys, obviously, it's the last Mets home game of the year. 4 games left of the season against the Marlins, unfortunately. And then we got 3 against the Braves in Atlanta. So, it's like a tradition for me to always go to the last game of the season at home. So that's what I'm going to do, like I always do. Mets are a terrible team. Mets are a great team. It doesn't matter to me. I love going to the last home game of the season. It's a lot of the friends that I see that I only see during the baseball season that I usually go see, hang out until next spring, basically, until February when I go to Port St. Lucie and see a lot of them through the 7 line. So say what's up in the comments, guys. Don't forget, hit on that like button, guys, and subscribe to my channel if you're new to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Talking Mets and Rob. We have a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get right into it. So Rich Hill is on the mound tonight. I will be putting up the lineup for tonight, and you'll see it scrolling on the bottom just now. So I am on my phone, so sorry if I don't text back to you guys, but I do see your comments. Don't worry about that. So, Sway, since you're already here, I'm going to throw you a comment right up there. Do you think the Mets are bringing back Baez? I don't know, and that's going to come into the fact of listening to Sandy Alderson. And if you did listen to the press conference yesterday, when a reporter asked him about bringing back Baez, he had a very long pause before he answered that question. Now, again, he could have said that. He could have had that long pause based on him not don't want to say something wrong, like, say something that is on his mind, but will get him in trouble, or he just wanted to think about what he wanted to say to the reporters and to the fans. So I think it was like 75-25 that he was coming back, in my opinion. But I honestly think it's 50-50 because, as you heard Sandy Alderson talk about, the last day to put in the qualifying offer for a player, I believe it's like 5 days after the World Series, and they can accept it up until, I think, December or November, I believe. So it's not that much time. It's like a 2-3 week span that the Mets can offer the qualifying offer and also the player to accept it. But what you heard also Sandy Olson said is that the collective bargaining agreement ends December 2nd. So what's that mean? That means a lot of things. That means, one, a lot of players might actually – damn, sun's in the way. All right. That means a lot of players might want to get deals done with the qualifying offer or a long-term extension or a contract with teams before the CBA is up, because there's a lot of question marks after December 2nd when the CBA is up. So when it comes to Baez, to answer your question, Sweaty, I think it's about 50-50 now. Last week I thought it was 75-25, but hearing Alderson, he's going to have to make the decisions before he even hires a president of baseball operations, and that's a problem because I do not like Sandy making moves. And you heard him how he breaks down things. He likes to do a little bit in the beginning, a little bit in the middle, and a little bit at the end. I don't like that at all. I can't stand that. That just shows me he's not aggressive, and that's the biggest problem that I have. So there could be a lot of deals and a lot of qualifying offers. You got to remember, if Sandy Alderson wants to make a qualifying offer to only Stroman and Syndergaard and not Conforto and Baez, well, technically not Baez, but and give those qualifying offers to the 2 out of the 3 players, that's up to Sandy Alderson because there's nobody in place that they're gonna give quick enough to make those qualifying offers. So it's gonna be up to Sandy Alderson, who completely destroyed this season along with the offense of the Mets, who was not aggressive during the trade deadline that hurt us with a team that was in first place. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with Sandy Alderson, who's going to be making all the baseball decisions until he hires the president of baseball operations. And they're going to have to go through the vetting process. They're going to have to interview a couple of guys, probably between 3 and 5. And that's what we're going to have to deal with. So Alderson is going to make these decisions. And the way to pause of Alderson shows that he might not like Baez. And again, the reason why he made that Baez move because the pressure was on him to make it. And when that pressure was on him, the only player that was left that was superstar quality was basically Baez being left. And that's the problem. Ovadia, how you doing? Well, I mean, the Mets are not going to offer Baez a qualifying offer, most likely. They might, but I don't know. I mean, it's obvious that Baez is not going to take that. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be determined of what the Mets are willing to give him. Because, look, if the Mets are smart, the big thing they should do is give qualifying offers to everybody who's a free agent. Big time guys. I'm not talking about Familia. I'm talking about Conforto, Baez, Syndergaard, Stroman. Offer them all a qualifying offer only to protect you if they leave so you get that draft pick. That's it. That's all. And clearly, most likely, Conforto might not take it, but I have a feeling he will take that $19 million because I don't think any team is going to give him a multi-year deal and trust that it was only a bad year. Stroman's not going to take it because obviously he took it last year. He's not taking it this year because he pitched great. So he's going to get a big contract. And Syndergaard is probably going to take it. But are the Mets going to give Syndergaard a qualifying offer of $19.5 million? I don't think so. So I think Syndergaard is probably, and the Mets are probably negotiating maybe like a 2-year deal in the range of 10 to probably around 12 to $15 million per year. Maybe, giving Syndergaard at the age of 30, 31 to become a free agent and then get that big contract. Because it seems like Syndergaard wants to be here. And I don't think anybody's going to risk giving a big contract to Syndergaard or even a 2-year deal to Syndergaard when all he had all these injuries hasn't pitched in 2 years. So I think that the bigger problem that we have here, and this is the problem about Steve Cohen keeping Sandy Alderson, is that now you already have a problem that Sandy Alderson is going to make these decisions before somebody who he's going to bring in, a president of baseball operations and GM, are going to not make these decisions. So they're already behind the 8 ball coming into this organization, and that's what I don't like. Already this Mets seems frustrating. But again, guys, don't worry that the season is over. The Mets are not making the playoffs, obviously. But the good news is this channel will be up and running and making a lot of live videos, a lot of recorded videos throughout the offseason because there is so much to talk about with this Mets team regarding president of baseball ops, GM, player acquisitions, letting go of players. There's so much to talk about during the offseason, the collective bargaining agreement. There is so much to talk about. Who the Mets are keeping, who the Mets are getting rid of. There's so much that's going to be talked about. So don't worry, there will be content on this channel all through the offseason up until spring training. So we're not going to worry about that. So once again, guys, please hit on that like button if you enjoyed this stream. please hit on the subscribe button, guys. If you haven't already, hit on that subscribe button. Talking Mets with Robert, you here up until 5 o'clock until the Mets game. So I will be going to the game if you're just tuning in. So I'm not gonna do a live feed. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm gonna see. But I will. This is the pregame right now until 5 o'clock. I will be with you guys. So give me your questions, give me your concerns, whatever you want to talk about. Please put in the comments, and we'll get it done. All right. So the lineup is scrolling below if you care. Again, tradition for me is going to the last home game of the season. No matter if the Mets are bad, good, or terrible, it doesn't matter. I like to go to the last home game of the season because it's just a nice way to see your friends for the last time that you only see during the baseball season, and a lot of people from the seven line. So I don't see those people. I might see them occasionally at Ranger games because a lot of them are Ranger fans and Islander fans, so I'll probably see my hockey games. But other than that, I won't see them probably until spring training in Port St. Lucie in February. So again, the lineup is below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about Sandy Olson's comments. There's a lot to talk about with him. I talked about the bias thing, but I want to get into something that he said regarding Luis Rojas. Hayden, what's up, buddy? So when it comes to Luis Rojas, it's probably a 95% chance with the comments of Alderson that Luis Rojas will be either fired as manager or just let go as manager and still be a part of the organization. Now, there's a lot of people that think very highly of Luis Rojas outside the organization. You know, we see Gabe Kapler, who was terrible with the Phillies, but the Giants gave him a chance, and the Giants are winning 100 games. So it really depends on what do people think. Now, do Luis Rojas feel pissed about it? That he gets fired, or he understands and still wants to be within the organization, maybe as a minor league guy? I mean, it's hard to be the manager of the major league team and come back in the minors somehow. So there's a lot to think about with him. But I think Luis Rojas is gone. I will be doing videos throughout the offseason, most likely at the end of the season. We'll do a roundtable discussion after the season is over against the last 3 games. After the last game in Atlanta, I will be going live with the Atlanta Braves when the Mets face the Braves, the last game of the season on Sunday at 3 o'clock. I will be going live then, so we will do that then. But after that game, the next day, I will be doing a roundtable discussion about the Mets and just an off-season discussion. That's what we'll be doing, and hopefully you guys tune in. So, all this and talked about Luis Rojas. Luis Rojas is gone. There's a pretty good chance he's gone. It's obvious he will be gone. That's okay. But it's a matter of who is going to replace him. That's going to be an interesting part. You know, there hasn't been a lot of discussion. There hasn't been a lot of rumors about him or who's going to be a candidate. The only person we really heard about was really. There hasn't been Bob Melvin. That's the only guy from Oakland. But it seems like it's going to be a package deal with Bob Melvin and Billy Beane. So, I don't know. I think that the interesting thing to look at here, guys, and I think you guys probably understand this, is that you have to understand that Sandy Alderson is going to make the decision definitely to hire the president of baseball operations. He has full autonomy to make that deal and who to pick. My concern is he's already on the phone with Billy Beane making this decision. That worries me because no matter how much you might like Billy Beane, how much you might think he's done well with the Oakland A's, I do not want Billy Beane. As much as he might have done well with a small market team and constantly winning 85 to 95 games and making the playoffs almost every year with Oakland A's, they never win. They're a team that is built for the regular season. If you watch Moneyball, you understand they are built to win games in season, in the regular season. They are not built to win in the postseason. And you see that every year with them. They rarely get out of the first round, if ever. They usually lose a wild card game because they never win the division. Everyone now and then they win the division. I do not want Billy Beane. But if somehow Senor Olsen figures says I want Billy Beane, Bob Melvin is probably going to be the next manager of the New York Mets. It's probably going to be a package deal. Do you want a guy who has been basically tutored and mentored Billy Beane into the GM, vice president, president of baseball ops guy he is today with the Oakland A's as this Mets team with all the money that he will have available at his disposal? I worry about that a lot. Again, if you guys been watching my channel, you know the guy I want as president of baseball ops, and that's Theo Epstein. Now, I think it's harder to do that with Sandy Alderson as the president. I think it was better for Steve Cohen just to clean house. Steve Cohen hired Theo Epstein as the president. Let him hire the guys he wants and go from there. Theo's done it with the Red Sox. Theo has done it with the Cubs. He brought championships to teams that could never win a championship. That always fell apart. The curse of the Billy Goat, the curse of the Bambino. He changed the franchises because of what he done. I want him to do that with the Mets. We haven't won since '86, guys. We need consistency with this organization. We need to be sustainable. I want to be a team that makes the playoffs every year, because when you make the playoffs every year, you have a shot to win. It's that simple. And we can't continue to waste years of Jacob deGrom every freaking year. How many more years are we going to waste of him? He's already breaking down. We've seen it this year. We got to help him out and get this guy to the playoffs. We get to the playoffs, we automatically have the advantage in game one or the wild card game of every series we play because of Jacob deGrom. That's a big deal. You play him in a 5-game series, you know he's going to pitch game one, and he's going to pitch game 5. You pitch in NLCS in a 7-game series, he's going to pitch probably 1, 5, and 7 based on the days off. It's that simple. Or 1, 4, and 7. It's that simple. We have the advantage, and we keep on letting years go by of Jacob deGrom not making the playoffs, and it's killing us. Because what happens if we don't make the playoffs next year? Jacob deGrom is another year older. He has an opt-out after next year. That's a problem, guys. We got to get it together. We got to do what's right for this organization. Sustainability. Making the playoffs every year. Contending every year. I do it this year was a prime year because every team was bad. The Mets gave, and I'm going to blame Alderson in this. Alderson gave the opportunity to the Atlanta Braves, knowing that all he had to do was be a little bit more aggressive than he was to help the first place Mets out. People forget we were in first place at the trade deadline. All we needed to do was do a couple of moves. A middle-of-the-road starting pitcher, not Rich Hill, not Trevor Williams. I'm not talking about Berrios, but a middle-of-the-road starter, maybe a number 3, that was solid enough to help this rotation out. And another bat, which we could have had when you heard about all the rumors, Chris Bryant and Javi Baez. You could have had both of them. But Sandy Alderson did not make that move, which is quoted by Sandy Alderson. That said, he did not want to make that trade for Chris Bryant and Javi Baez because of the uncertainty of the Jacob deGrom injury. You do not run your organization and not make moves because of one player in this organization. Your team was in first place. You helped this team to get better. And he failed this organization. He failed the team. He did not believe in his team, Daniel Olsen, and it hurt this team. So what did that do? Not only right before the Pittsburgh series, the Mets went right before the Pittsburgh series, we had that 5-game series against the Braves when the Braves took 3 out of 5. It kept them involved. Only if the Mets would have won 3 out of 5 games during that series against the Braves would have been basically out of it. They would have been about 7 to 8 games out at the time. It ended up them being only 3 games out after that series, which made them see that they had a shot to win this division, and they went out to get Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, knowing they had no outfield, and they got the help they needed, and it turned their season around. being aggressive like the Braves were, seeing that opportunity, they took it. The Mets did not. The Mets had the opportunity to bury a team that probably wasn't going to make moves at the deadline if you took care of that series. And Olsen didn't do enough. And that's the biggest problem. And that's why I worry that Olsen is going to be running things until he hires a president of baseball operations. We don't know when that can be. Is that going to be in October during the World Series? But we can't speak. We're not going to speak to David Stern. I'm not sure if we can speak to David Epstein. Maybe we can, David Stearns. I don't know if we can talk to Billy Beane until the World Series is over. So there's nobody you can speak to. So that means all the way until the end of October, we're not going to have a president of baseball operations. So that means Alderson is going to make the decision on Luis Ross, which should probably fire him. Everybody agrees. He might make some decisions on qualifying offer for certain players right after the World Series is over. So now we already have Alderson making decisions. We already have Alderson making the decision on interviews after the All-Star break. So we're going into November before we even have somebody controlling the baseball side of things. And that means Alderson is going to make a lot of decisions before he hires a president of baseball operations guy, which scares the hell out of me. Oh boy, this sucks, guys. But hey, what are we going to do, right? It's the Mets. It's never easy. All right, so Avadia, let me pull up that comment. Excuse me, guys. I want to talk about the Mets hitters. Except Nimmo that swing at every pitch, especially. Pete Alonso can be so much better if he can just be disciplined. I don't agree with you with Nimmo. I think Nimmo's one of the most patient hitters in his lineup. He has the best on base percentage. I think he has the most walks on his team if he wasn't injured. He's one of our best consistent hitters. He's an on base guy, and I like Nimmo. Pete Alonso is going to be Pete Alonso. He's going to bat 260. He's not going to be very disciplined. The only time when he's disciplined is when he's hot. When he's cold at the plate, he's not disciplined. So Pete Alonso is going to give you between 35 to 40 home runs, knocking 90, 85 to 100 RBIs, and bat 260. That's what you're getting out of Pete Alonso. You're not getting much more than that. So, and you need hitters that you can count on. Dominic Smith, everybody went insanely crazy with Dominic Smith based on 60 games. And let's be honest, 60 games, he played 50 of them. Everybody went crazy. If you do a breakdown, 50 games is only a quarter of the season. A quarter of our regular season. So it's terrible to look at with them. Jeff McNeil, I think, is the one guy who's going to be on this team still. I don't know if he's going to be a bench guy, but I think Dominic Smith and JD Davis is off this team. It's that simple. JD Davis is not a good enough third baseman to be here. I know he had this hand injury throughout the whole year, but at the end of the day, when you're on the field and you claim you're healthy, there is no excuses. So JD Davis is gone. I think Dominic Smith is gone. I think you have to, Dominic Smith has value. There's somebody out there who's going to need a very good third baseman, a first baseman, who has the potential to hit 25 home runs and bat 270. There's value there. Maybe you could train him for a pitcher. Maybe. But there's a lot of guys in this lineup that people were projected to have good years. Jeff McNeil, if he was a 300 hitter, this lineup would look a lot better, in my opinion. Especially with Nimmo there. And Lindor, who got hot in the second half. And Baez, who came in after the trade deadline. And Pete Alonso doing what Pete Alonso does. So, we had VR, we have Pilar, and you got to remember, this is the one thing that I don't think a lot of people understand. During that May into middle of June, when Conforto was hurt, when JD Davis was hurt, when Nimmo was hurt, there was a lot of guys hurt. McNeil was hurt. The benchmark, the best record that we had in a month was when the benchmark, when the Nitos of the world, when the Pilars of the world, the VRs of the world, the Perazas of the world played every day and filling in for these guys that were injured. Our best month, if you look back, was May into the middle of June. And guess who was playing? The bench mob. It wasn't the players that were supposed to be the starters every day. That's a big concern for me. Because when those guys came back, that's when we started to go downhill very slowly. We sunk like the freaking Titanic. And that's the biggest problem that I have. But Ovadia, Nimmo was our is probably our best on base guy, with Alonso being our best power guy. It's that simple. So once again, guys, please hit on the like button. Don't forget to hit on that like button. Let's get that stream out to more people. I will be with you for the next 20 minutes. I am going to the last home game of the year. Hit on that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, guys, Super Chat is live. If you want to donate to the channel, you're more than welcome to. There's no obligation. Obviously, guys, I love the support that you always give. But Super Chat is live. If you want to support, I thank you. Once again, guys, Talkin Mr. Robert G here. Hit on that like button, hit on that subscribe button, guys. Throw your questions at the comments. I can try to answer the best of my abilities. But another lost season for the New York Mets. We didn't have Jacob deGrom since the first week in July. We didn't have Syndergaard until basically yesterday or the day before, 2 days ago. 2/3 of our pitching staff was injured most of the time. We had Stroman, who was consistent. Walker, who was great in the first half, terrible in the second half. Rich Hill was Rich Hill. Trevor Williams is Trevor Williams. David Peterson was hurt. He was out most of the year. So, there can be a lot of excuses for this organization to use. But when this team was in first place and the bench mob kept us afloat, which was our best month of the year, when the guys came back, they failed this team. That was Dominic Smith, Jeff McNeil, Lindor for the most part. Pete Alonso too, because Pete Alonso struggled. Middle of July into August, he struggled a lot. But, I'm not going to get on Pete Alonso because he had a great year. But it's just frustrating with this team. It's tough to figure out why this team is so bad and why we collapsed in August and September. Now, you can bring back August when we faced the Giants and Dodgers 14 times. But you know what? We weren't the only ones. The Braves did. The Phillies did. Everybody in the NL East did. But the Braves and Phillies, what they did was they sustained that barrage of teams. They didn't get swept out of the water like the Mets did against the Giants, against the Dodgers. What did the Giants, the Braves do? They, in a 4-game series, they might have took one game, but that one game basically saves you from getting swept. Out of I think the 9 games or 10 games they faced the Giants and Dodgers, they won 3 of them. But that's a big deal. The Mets out of the 13, they lost 11 of them. That's terrible. You can't have that. Out of 13 games, can you win 4 of them? Maybe 5? So, you go 5-8. That's a lot better. An extra 5 wins might have helped us in this division or the wild card, even though St. Louis went on a crazy streak. It might have not mattered for the wild card, but maybe that would have made a difference in the division. We don't know that because we didn't do it. There was a lot of games against the Marlins. A lot of people think that 3-game series in Miami killed us when we lost 2 out of 3. Getting beat up by the Phillies after that, when the Cardinals, like I said, we had the opportunity when we faced the Cardinals and the Phillies in September, when we were 3.5 games out of the wild card. Maybe if we would have took 2 out of 3 against St. Louis, they might have not won on that big streak. Maybe it would have been us. Maybe if we would have took 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, it would have been different. Maybe we would have had that wild card. But the constant what if, that's the problem that we have. But once again, guys, this is what the Mets do. This is what happens. And we're used to this. But let's hope that Cohen makes big changes, gets big guys that need to be in this organization. And that's Theo Epstein, David Stearns. Not likely to be Billy Bean because I don't want him. I don't mind Bob Melvin as a manager. He's a very good manager. But I don't know if, he's a veteran guy, which I want. I don't want a new guy. I don't want Beltran. I don't want anybody new in this organization as the manager. I want somebody with experience who can be a leader. Managers are going to make mistakes. Maybe they'll bring in the wrong bullpen guy. Maybe they'll take out the guy at the wrong time. They won't bring in the pinch hitter at the right time. The wrong pinch hitter at this time. Every manager makes mistakes with that. But I want a guy to admit that he made the mistake, not say, well, the numbers say, well, this says. I want a guy who looks at analytics, but also uses his gut as well. Rojas, when he had the opportunity to use his gut, he failed. And mostly it was with the bullpen. That's the problem that I have. And I think we need an experienced guy who's the leader of this team. Not a guy who pampers these guys, who loves these guys, who says, oh, well, we took him out. We like this guy. We like this matchup, blah, blah, blah. And, basically being nice to the players. I want a guy who admits that he's wrong when he makes a move that did not work out. Say, listen, I thought that was a good move when I made it. It did not turn out that way. The results were different. We never heard Rojas say that he made the mistake. According to Rojas, he's always right. That's a problem. It's not what we want, guys. Matthew, how you doing? Exactly, Matthew. That's what I was saying a few minutes ago with the Mets. The Braves and mostly the Braves, they won a couple of games against the Dodgers and the Giants. That kept them afloat because they could have easily fell apart if they got swept by the Braves and against the Giants and the Dodgers. Those series meant everything to the Braves, Phillies, and Mets. The Phillies faltered, the Mets really faltered, and the Braves sustained them series. They weren't great. They didn't play well, but they won a game here. They won a game there. Like I said, I think they played 10 games against the Giants and the Dodgers, the Braves. They won, what, 3 of them? They went 3-7, but those 3 games matter. And they might have played 12 games, if I'm not mistaken. They won 4. They won more than 2 games, that was for sure. And that was the biggest thing there. The Mets had the NL East in July, in my opinion. When they had that 5-game series against the Braves, and the Braves took 3 out of 5, that killed us. Because if we would have took 3 out of 5, that would have pushed the Braves back 6 games, maybe 7 games, instead of the 3 games right before the trade deadline, or right in the middle of July, right before the All-Star break. When you gave that team out too, you could have buried them. He might have not even thought about making trades at the deadline. But we lost 3 out of 5. It killed us. And it gave them the opportunity to say, we can win this division. This division is not that good. So they got the ball, they got Rosario, and they took off. The Mets didn't do enough. And that's directly the fault of Alderson, who was not aggressive with this first place Mets team. And I'm blaming Alderson. Yes, you can blame the players for not performing, granted. But again, this team was basically hanging off the deal life for first place by the trade deadline. What were we, 3 games ahead by the deadline? Maybe a number 3 type of starter. And maybe getting Chris Bryant and Baez might have helped this team win a couple of those games against the Marlins or the Dodgers or the Giants. Or actually playing a little bit better. Maybe, look, we saw it in September. We lost 11 out of the last 13 one-run games in the early parts of September. We lost 11 out of 13 one-run games in September. If we win 4 of those games, it might have made a difference. And that's what sucks about it, guys. And that's what pisses me off. And I never will forgive Sandy Olson for that. It's why I wanted him fired. But I don't make the decisions. Cohen does. Now, what I hope is if Sandy Alderson does want to bring in Billy Bean and Bob Melvin, if Sandy Alderson leaves Billy Bean alone, maybe Billy Bean has a pretty good shot at being a good president of baseball ops here. Maybe. I think Bob Melvin will be fine. But I don't trust a guy who was mentored and tutored by Sandy Olson being the guy that runs the organization and president of baseball ops. Because I feel like Sandy Olson would just, when Billy Bean might go to Sandy Olson and say, hey, what do you think I should do? I don't want that. I don't want Olson to have anybody's ear. I want them to do what they want to do. And if they fail, at least I know they did it themselves. It was on them. Not because Sandy Olson told them. I don't want that. It's this team's gonna drive me nuts during the offseason. 100% drive me nuts. But the good news is that we don't have to stress out about the playoffs, which would be nice. Stress about season games, about the last couple of games of the season. It would have been very stressful the last couple of games of the season, even though all of us would have loved it. It would have been very stressful if these games mattered the last 4 games of the season, especially against the Braves and today against the Marlins. But it didn't happen. The Mets faltered. They choked away first place, which was basically in their hands for 103 days of the season. And that's what hurts more. This Mets team failed. The bench mob was the biggest part of this Mets team this year. They kept us afloat. The best record we had based on a month was when the bench mob was filling in for the injured players in May into early June. The New York Mets better make the playoffs next year. They better get a manager in that knows what the hell he's doing. They need a president of baseball ops who knows what he's doing. They need Sandy Olson to be the president of the team and work on the business side and not have any say and not even have a whisper of a say about player acquisition. Because if he does, we are going to have the same conversation as we're having today in 2022. And I don't want that to have that conversation. I want to have the conversation in late September talking about who the Mets are going to play in the playoffs, who's going to be in the starting rotation, what the rotation is going to look like for the playoffs. That's what I want to talk about. Or even the wild card game. I want to talk about that in late September, not this freaking nonsense that we have every year with this team. In the conversation at the end of September, who's getting fired? What players are going to be gone? A new front office is going to be in here. I don't want that conversation. I want playoff talk at the end of September. I want to get excited. I want to get you guys excited. I want this channel to be going crazy. I want these live streams to be going crazy. I want to be live during playoff games with the Mets. That's going to be fun. Not this. This is stressful, painful, and a joke. And this organization needs to change this. And it lies on Sandy Alderson, and it lies on Steve Cohen. And they got to make the difference. They got to make the changes. And let's hope that they don't make the wrong decision with president of baseball off, because it will put this team back many years. Guys, I know it says it's going to be until 5 o'clock, but it's getting cloudy. I don't think it's going to rain, but I want to make sure I get in before it starts to rain. So, once again, guys, I enjoy every moment of every day with you guys going live during games this year. I'll be going live one more time during the game. Hector, what's up, buddy? One more time on Sunday. I'm okay, buddy. I'm okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to the Mets game. Last home game of the year, unfortunately. But I'm going live one more time, guys. Sunday, 3 o'clock against the Braves. Last game of the season, so I'll see you guys then. It's been a pleasure having fun with you guys throughout the game, throughout the year, from preseason all the way until the last game of the season, guys. I really appreciate all the support for my channel. We're going to have a lot of fun, guys, and a lot of live streams, a lot of recorded videos throughout the off season, because the Mets make sure there's a lot to talk about during the off season. A lot to talk about with front office, player acquisition, trades, Science qualifying offer, collective bargaining agreement that's going to be up at December 2nd. So much to talk about on this channel. So stay around, guys. Stick around with me throughout the off season. We will have some fun on a lot of debates and a lot of stuff that's going to go on with this team. So once again, guys, hit on that like button, guys. Hit on that subscribe button, guys. I will see you guys on Sunday live. Mets versus Braves, last game of the season. I love all of you guys. Once again, guys, I won't be getting drunk. Don't worry about that. Once again, guys, curse of the world puns. Or the Wilsons, whatever you want to say. Once again, guys, I'll talk to you guys Sunday live stream. Mets versus Braves, last game of the season. I'll see you then. As always, Mets fans, let's go Mets. Thank you guys for the support. See you guys next time. Let's go Mets, guys. LFGM. Unfortunately, we didn't make the playoffs. What else is new? Guys, have a good night. I guess hopefully the Mets win. Who knows? I'm going to get drunk. Let's go Mets, guys. Have a good night, guys. Peace out.